it's Sam with Vibeworks Guitars, back with another wiring tutorial video. And this time we're going to be doing the hollow body style guitar kit that has the Bigsby style bridge. It's based on a Gretsch model, and it's a really fun model. It's one of our most popular models. And it's a little bit different than some of the other guitar kits because rather than two pickups, two volume and two tone, this has a master volume, a master tone, and then two individual volumes, one for each pickup. And it's also a little bit unique because you do all of the wiring outside of the guitar and then put it in the guitar. Because it's a hollow body style, there isn't a lot of great access to do any wiring inside. So one thing I recommend is creating a template of your guitar. If you search other videos, you'll see a lot of people doing this. You can even use the box that the guitar kit came in, trace the body. Of course, you're going to be upside down when you're looking at it this way. And you can mark some spots where some different parts go. So what we're going to be doing is going to have the master tone and the three-way switch on the upper left bout, master volume on the upper right, and then the individual volumes on the lower right, the output jack. We'll put our tone capacitor in there, and yeah, that'll be it. These pickups might look a little different than the ones that came in your kit. I just grabbed what I had laying around for the purposes of this exercise. Also, one other note, because of the way this is set up, the wire that you got in your kit may not be sufficient if you're going to do the similar style, because you have a run, you have some long runs rather than kind of going little by little like you would in some other guitar kits, like say a Les Paul style. This one, you have some long runs back and forth to the switch and to the output jack. So you may need some longer wire if you're going to do that. Any braided wire should work. Anything you can find locally, doesn't need to be anything special or specific. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The wiring diagram for this is on the website. This is labeled 2 pickup, 3 volume, 1 tone, 3-way switch. That's what we're doing. 2 pickups, 3 volumes, 1 tone, and a 3-way switch. Okay, I think we will start by wiring each of these pickups to their respective volume pots. One thing that we'll do is we'll always ground this first pin back to itself. So we just use the top of the case. This pin, we just bent it back, and we're going to add some solder to solder this to the back of the pot. We're going to do that on both of the volume pots. Actually, we're going to do it on all 3. We're going to do it on our master volume as well. Another benefit to making your cardboard template is that you'll have, you can poke some holes in that, and it will do a great job at holding these components in place as you're soldering. I should be taking my own advice right now. You see that pin is soldered back onto the back of the pot, and I'm going to do that to these other 2 as well. Next, we're going to wire a pickup to each of their individual volumes. Bare wire is the ground. Insulated wire is going to go to the middle pin on the pots. I'll wire one of these up and then show a close-up view. Okay, I decided to go get an empty cardboard box, poke some holes in it to hold these pots, just because it'll make everything easier. So now, as you can see, we've got the shielded wire on the middle pin of the pot and the bare wire soldered to the back of the pot to act as a ground. I'll do that with the other one as well. Next, I'm going to keep working with these pots, and we are going to wire the connection from these pots to the three-way switch. Switches have a lot of different looks and styles about them. This one's the easiest to kind of tell what's going on. There's 3 pins, one for each side. The middle is the output, and then this 4th pin on the side of the case is the ground. So we'll send a ground wire over there, as well as a wire to each side of this, one from each of the pots. And this will just go from the last lug we have on the pots to each side. One other thing to note, on a switch like this, it doesn't matter which side goes on which. If once you install it in your guitar, if you're like, oh, that should be neck, that should be bridge, just flip it over and then it'll work. So we'll get that wired up right now. Okay, so now what I've done is I've wired each pot to the switch on each side of the switch, as well as a ground wire going from the back of the neck pickup pot to the side pin on the switch. I also wired a ground from the back of the neck volume pot to the bridge volume pot because basically on grounds, every ground needs to be connected to every other ground in some way or another. Whether you daisy chain them or they all go back to a central ground, everything needs to be grounded together. So now what we've got, lift this up, you can see neck pickup, bridge pickup to the other side, ground, and then this other black wire is the other ground. So now what we'll do is we will go from the output of the switch to the master volume and then the master tone as well. On the master tone, the first step is to install the tone capacitor. This goes on that same pin that we were grounding out on the volume side of things. We're going to put that this tone capacitor. So it goes from this first lug to the back of the pot. I'm going to solder this in place and then trim the wires afterwards. Just makes the connection a little bit easier, and then I'll show it up close. Just like to fold that to get it out of the way, but as you can see, this tone capacitor is connected to this first lug and to the back of the pot. We're going to set that aside for a minute, and now we're going to connect the switch, the middle lug of the switch, to the lug on the other side of the master volume. That will act as our input for that purpose. And while we're at it, we will also do a ground from the switch to the master volume. Inside the guitar, this will go from the upper left bout to the upper right bout, so it won't be a crazy long connection to make. So now you can see I've got the volume pot from the far end lug to the middle lug on the switch, and then the ground wire going from the back of the volume pot to the ground lug on the switch. Now what I'm going to do is run the output of this, which is the center lug on the volume pot, to the center lug on the tone, and then it will go out to the output jack. This red wire is going from the center lug of the volume to the center lug of the tone. And then I have this brown wire. I ran out of black, so I'm using this brown as a ground between the tone and the switch. And now you'll see right now, as I mentioned, all the grounds need to be connected together. Right now, that's the case. The ground for the tone is connected to the switch. The ground for the master volume is connected to the switch. The switch goes to the neck volume pot, and then the neck volume pot to the bridge volume pot. So right now, all the grounds have continuity across each other. And we're almost done. Our last step is to wire in the output jack and then the bridge ground. So I'm going to start with our output jack. Now in your actual guitar, this is a pretty long run because it's all the way from the upper left bout to the lower right where the output jack is. For this purpose, I'm going to use some two little wires just to show where the connection goes. Brown again for ground because I'm out of, forgot to tin these, because I'm out of black wire. Okay. Now on the output jack, there's two lugs. And it's easy to mix up which is which. If you, this lug, as you see, if you follow where it's connected to, you can see that it's connected to this outer ring. That's your ground. This lug, if you follow it around underneath this plastic part, connects to this spring that connects to the tip of your guitar cable. That's your hot. So I'm going to connect this red from the center lug of the tone. It'll share it with the other wire to this terminal that connects to the tip of the jack, and the other one will be the ground. Okay, I've got this jack wire, the hot to the tip pin from the center lug of the tone. You could also do that from the center lug of the volume. Either will work the same. That might be a little bit cleaner way to get it through the guitar. And then the ground. For this purpose, I did it to the back of the master volume pot. It's probably going to be more efficient for you to do it to the back of one of the individual volume pots. But in reality, again, for grounds, as long as it connects to some other ground, you're good. That's all you need to do. You don't need to, it doesn't need to be in a specific spot as long as it's on one of the grounds. So this can go on the back of any of the pots that you'd like. Final step, and I'm going to use white wire for this just to completely throw my convention out the window, is the bridge ground. So the last step that needs to be grounded is the bridge, which grounds the actual strings, which connects to your fingers, and you finish the ground as the guitar player. So where this goes is, again, the back of any of the pots. One of the individual volume pots will be the most efficient place to put that because it'll be closest. So I am going to put that one up here. So we do it right to the back of this pot. There we go. And then the other feeds through and needs to make connection with one of your bridge posts. Now you need to fish this all through the guitar. So what a lot of people do, what's very common, and you can search videos for this, wiring a hollow body guitar. You take a very small string, or dental floss works fantastic. Fish a piece of dental floss through each of the holes, and then out the pickup holes or the F holes, and then tie that floss to each corresponding component, pull it through into place, and with the floss, and then you can hold that in while you put the nut on, for example, for each of these pots or for the switch. Because that's quite a process, you don't want to do that over and over again. So I highly recommend at this stage that you make sure each pot is turned all the way to the right, all the way on. Plug this into your guitar amp, and then take anything that's metal, a screwdriver. I've got my wire cutters here. If I had this plugged into my amp, make sure the amp's on. You should hear a little bit of hum and stuff. And then as you tap on the pickups with something metal, it's got to be metal to have the magnets react. You should hear a thumping. Check your switch, check each position. Do all of this debugging before you insert it in your guitar. Otherwise, if anything is wrong, you're pulling it all out, and that's a pain. And that is how we wire the VW045, our hollow body electric guitar kit. There's some others that are similar. Some of them might have just 2 volumes and 2 tones rather than the 3 volumes and 1 tone, but a lot of the principles are exactly the same. Hopefully this helps you in conjunction with the wiring diagram that we have on the website to really see how these all go together. And please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.